Hello, and welcome to Retention Chronicles, the customer retention podcast for e-commerce marketers. I am your host and fellow e-com marketer, Mariah Parsons. Tune in as I speak with D2C founders and operators about strategy that works and strategy that doesn't. Of course, we are able to have these conversations because of our podcast sponsor, Malomo. I have seen thousands of brand operators power their order tracking with Malomo to make every single message count. As a consumer, I personally have come to expect that brands have a phenomenal post-purchase experience, or else I'm not really shopping with them again. And a lot of consumers are this way. 84% of shoppers won't return if they have a bad shipping experience. And it feels so important for e-commerce brands to have a good pre-purchase experience. You're trying to get that acquisition. Your customers are coming through the door. They're coming through your website. It is a very personalized experience. You have pop-ups that are timed well. You have customer testimonials that are easing fears. You have well-timed cart abandonment emails, all of that stuff. And then you purchase with a brand, and sometimes there's no communication, and it leaves you wondering, it leaves you mad, maybe scared that you fell for a scam or something like that. And so I think it is such a smart decision to have your transactional shipping emails and SMS not just be about only business. Malomo helps turn them into a powerful marketing tool. What does that look like? It means you can cross-sell other products on that branded order tracking page. You can put educational content on that page. So if you have something that consumers will have to learn how to use for the first time, you can put that there. If you have recipes that they could, use your product for when they first get it, you can put that there. Your social media, everything, frequently asked questions, whatever you want, you get the control back so that you're not sending your customers to a carrier tracking page. You're putting them right back on your website, and you're also keeping them informed about their order status while you do it. That's the beautiful thing about this platform. If you're ready to turn your order notifications into a marketing channel and join thousands of e-commerce brand operators in making their customers happier while also adding to your brand's profits, visit gomalomo.com. That's GOMALOMO.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Retention Chronicles. I am stoked for our episode here today. Desiree, thank you so much for making the time. I'm so excited to have you here on Retention Chronicles. It's going to be great. Share a little bit about yourself, share why you are in this seat, what has you here today, all that fun stuff.
Sure. My name is Desiree Rabus. I'm the founder of StyleFox. It's a women's love media site, as well as we do products. So we have skincare, we have, topical devices, as well as like light therapy devices. My background is in magazines. So I came from, being an editor and a writer in New York City for magazines. And then I eventually launched my own site, and that did really well. So yeah, that's where we are today. We start with women's lifestyle content, very like wellness, beauty, fashion, career advice, that sort of thing. And then we moved on to products. And so now we have a full skincare line.
I love it. So give me a little bit of like an insider scoop around working in the magazine world, because the only, vision of what it is like is The Devil Wears Prada. Like that's all I have growing up is like in the fashion world. Like that's just like tangential. Like that's all I got. So give me a little bit of insider like information. What was your experience like? Is it similar to kind of your experience right now of being a founder of a brand?
I think it depends on what publication you work at. I worked at like a really cool, like artsy lifestyle New York City magazine. And I feel like the people were probably a little bit less pretentious and very cool. I've never worked for Condé Nast, so I can't speak to them. I've met some really nice people, and I've met some not so nice people. I think the fashion world is a mixed bag, so I don't want to like label anybody as this or that, but yeah, you definitely get those. There are those experiences like The Devil Wears Prada for sure. I think that book was based off like real experiences.
Yes, yeah. I read the book as well, and it definitely, yes, it definitely sounds like it is. That's what the author, kind of says in the book. So
it's such a fun industry. It's so creative, and I love the art world. I love creative people. So obviously I love that side of it. I think people have sort of a fantasy on what it means to work for magazines, and it can be actually very grueling, like low paid work for a lot of the new writers. Yeah, you just have to really love it, because it's like anything else. It's very competitive. You really have to work super hard and hustle really hard to get your foot in there. And it is fun though, for sure. And it's very creative.
Yeah, I mean that all translates into being a founder, right? Of just kind of just going everywhere, doing everything, having boots on the ground, all that fun stuff. So tell us a little bit more about, why did you want to start Style Fox? Tell our audience a little bit more about the brand so that they have some context before we launch, into the strategy side of the show.
Sure. I really just wanted to cover content that I was passionate about and that I didn't want to worry about all this like celebrity and noise. I wanted to really make content around helping people's lives become better and helping women just in general with, I mean, anything from like like one of our biggest articles was how to make high heels more comfortable. Cause I would wear high heels a lot in the city going to events and I was out and I'm like, oh my God, my feet are killing me. So we did this whole article as one of our first viral articles called How to Make High Heels More Comfortable. Really just doing it's like solutions focused content, moving away from the noise that I found to be very popular in magazines and just doing helpful content to make women's lives better. So that's really where I got the idea. Yeah, and I started building the site while I was at my last job and I would like work during the day and then I was in school at the time, so I do my schoolwork for like 3 or 4 hours a night and then I would work on StyleFox and I did that for like 6 months and then I finally launched it and I bootstrapped it and just kind of put it out there to see what people thought of it and if they liked it and it started to pick up pretty quickly. Yeah, just inspired to do purposeful work. That's important to me. I just wanted to do something that I felt like was purposeful.
Yeah. Okay, so tangent, totally tangent. But how do you make heels comfortable? Because I need that. Is that article still up? Because I'm gonna go read it.
Yeah. So a couple things that come to mind that are probably the quickest, easiest way to do it is to put a ball pad in the toe of your shoe, and also to do block heels. So instead of doing like a stiletto, you want like a wider, more block heel, and that in the little pad on the front. There's like I think 20 tips in that article, but those two are probably the best ones that are just going to make and usually you don't want to go over like a 2 or 3 inch heel max.
Okay, back on the. I just know I couldn't continue on without knowing what your like top tips are for that. Okay, awesome. I love like purpose driven. I can already tell that you're very passionate about the space, obviously. So walk us through a little bit about the brand itself. Like, what's your customer? Tell us a little bit about like who loves shopping with you. Yeah, give us a little bit of those like high level demographics.
Sure. So our customers, women based in the US, anywhere from 18 to probably early 40s. We really focus on making our products conscious, eco-conscious. Again, I'm very purpose driven in my work. So I work really hard to, only do vegan ingredients. So everything is plant-based. All of our packaging is recyclable. We ship mostly with only recyclable, compostable materials. We donate a portion of our proceeds to carbon neutral companies, which automatically goes when you shop with us to those companies through our platform. And as well as that, like I was telling you earlier, we did buy a farm about 4 years ago. So now I am growing pollinator gardens basically everywhere. I grow dahlias, zinnias, roses, gladiolas, and we take the seeds and we send those out to our customers. So the whole idea behind the skincare brand, which you can see behind me, this is our Flowers for the Planet skincare line. So it's flower based and it also benefits the pollinators. So we have, our customers very much appreciate that about our brand. I think they're very drawn to that purpose driven. I think in a very crowded space like beauty is, and it is very crowded. I think you have to differentiate yourself and not just your products, but in how you operate and how you really feel about the things you're passionate about and what you do in those spaces. So I think people really appreciate that effort there. When we first launched, we launched with like powdered face masks. And basically we deconstructed a wet mask and made it a powder form so you could water activate it. And how I came up with that idea was that I have really sensitive skin. And so I didn't want to use anything that had fragrance or preservatives or any kind of ingredient that was going to like irritate my skin. So I started playing around and I started, basically deconstructing, a regular face mask, made the powder mask. And then we put those in compostable and recyclable packaging, like these very slim envelopes. And I don't have them here with me, but, I think we were really kind of on the edge of that whole like clean beauty, but also concerned with the packaging trend. And our first launch for these masks was in 2019. And, people really appreciated that about our brand. So I think our customers are they like the ingredients, but they also like our purpose behind it. They tend to be in, coastal states. We have obviously a lot of customers in California, New York, and Oregon, and Washington. So people that are passionate about their environment also want to use high quality products.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. As a consumer, I very much and I love that a lot of brands are now, especially like with e-commerce, are now taking that into consideration of like, okay,
Yeah.
what purpose does our brand serve?
Mhm.
So I very much always respect people who are similar minded in wanting to make sure that their passions like are translated into their brand and especially like on the sustainability front. So I love
Yeah.
that.
I'm really glad to see that it's becoming more common, more popular, and that makes me so happy. It's great that you're doing something to differentiate yourself, and it's great that it catches on as a trend, and then maybe we stay there, right? Maybe I've seen some incredible packaging inventions. Like I've seen this like packaging, like a plastic alternative that's made of seaweed. So I
Yeah.
mean, I love that's the direction we're going in, because I feel like if you're going to put products out in the world, you have to do them as thoughtfully as possible. And we really need the corporations. Smaller businesses are usually kind of really passionate about that, but we really need the big corporations to go in and start making big efforts there, because they're the ones who are really putting a lot of pollutants out into the environment. So, if they're working on making much more sustainable packaging, then it really makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agreed. And it's the smaller businesses and consumers who will drive that change. So
Yep.
I
Hmm.
love that we're aligned there. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the acquisition side of things, right? Obviously, this podcast, we're very focused on customer retention, but to have retention, you have to have acquisition. So I always like to kind of tee us up for that retention conversation, talking about acquisition, like what works best for you guys, from the beginning all the way up until now, and how have you seen acquisition change?
Sure. So I think I was thinking about this earlier, and I really think an important part of having a good brand is being very curious. And I think if you are curious, you're staying ahead of the trends, you're staying on top of what's happening and what works. And I think if you stay curious and you continue to innovate with what your products and what you're doing, you will find your customers, and you will retain them by continuing to innovate and be interesting and be a bit different from competitors, right? And again, I think the purpose is so important. And when you're doing things with purpose, you just come up with a lot of things, and you can try all sorts of things, right? So you launch out small, like when we were first starting the skincare brand, I just launched a couple things out, like a test run, just to see how it would do. And then that like caught up fire. And then all of a sudden overnight, we had like tens of thousands in orders. And I think that came from being curious. I created that product because I was like, well, what if we just start removing all this stuff? Like, what if we remove can we make a mask that you just activate in water? And that was sort of like my curious invention. So I think that you retain customers by being curious and creating innovative brands and products, and then continuing to do that over and over again, right? And not being afraid to fail and trying a new product and saying, hey, will this one work? So I think that as a baseline. And then as far as like going and getting new customers, I think that I'm a big person on trade shows. I think that you go and you meet people and you find your customers that way. I think a lot of brands are really focused on getting in big box stores when they should be focused on boutiques. So a lot of our products are in boutiques, smaller stores. And I got some great advice, because I think as you're always looking to grow your brand. And the goal for a lot of founders is, oh, I need to get into a Target, or I need to get into the Sephora. And I think the problem with that is that sometimes you might grow too fast. And so now you are going into 200, and now you don't have your brand isn't well known enough to sell that stuff, and now you're getting a bunch of returns. I got great advice from a revenue officer at Shop Talk, actually, who was like, yeah, you don't want to go into too many doors at once. So sometimes you start, and those local boutiques, get your brand out there, and you gain your customers that way. It doesn't always have to, like, you don't have to be Jeff Bezos overnight. I don't think that you need to go so aggressively. I know that people like are about, let's scale selling and all these things. In certain areas, I'm sure that works. But, I think when you're growing a brand and you're trying to grow your customer base and retain those customers, that sometimes starting locally is really smart, and growing and gaining that popularity within your local markets and then expanding out. Or even if you do go into a big box store like Target, start in 20 doors instead of 200.
Yes,
So,
yeah. And I very much think I've seen a lot on this podcast or just heard a lot from founders when you are really trying to get to that level of scaling, right? You've had like multiple years of business, you understand certain things about how your operations run, but you still haven't gotten to that point where you're ready for like going truly viral or anything like that. Even like your infrastructure, like your
oh yeah.
back end systems of like, can you even manage going into say 200 Target stores or something like that, of like, if that demand is really there, is your team ready for that? And like and I sit of course in the customer experience realm with Malomo of, okay, you want to make sure that when you get that customer, because they have such a high acquisition cost, you retain them and give them a really good experience pre and post purchase, right? So it's
Right.
like, if you are getting to that point where you have that, like a bunch of different markets that aren't just, your local markets or your top, 5 markets or whatever. If you're getting to that point and then you launch and then a bunch of new customers come in the door, which is great because you've acquired them, but then they have a bad experience, that does not help your retention, right? Because
Right.
that is going to be so much harder to convince them to shop with you again if they have that bad experience because your brand or your team isn't ready for being at that scale. So I love that call out. And I also think it's, especially, which I'd be curious to hear what you'd have to say, kind of seeing like right before COVID hit and then after, of like trade shows. Like, I think that is something people are just now getting back into on a regular cadence, right? Like, we've been going back to events for a couple of years now, but like now it's like, okay, I'm seeing like every month, not just like a few big ones, And like, what works for you for working the floor? Like, are you sponsoring? Are you getting a booth? Like, what are you going into, just like really, really specific beauty trade shows, even though there's probably more, right, like competition? But how are you kind of thinking about like, okay, I'm deciding to go to this trade show versus this one or whatnot?
So I really like, the reason I went to Shop Talk is because I really like their format of the one-on-one meetings. I really like how they set those you mutually agree to go to it, right? So you're both interested and want to meet each other. So I went to Shop Talk because I thought that format was amazing. I also did New York Now because New York Now is obviously, being from New York and our brand being from New York, it's a great discovery show. And I think that there's a lot of buyers there that are looking to discover new brands. So if you're a new brand, focus on going to shows where there are buyers there that are purposely looking to discover new brands. Because yeah, you're right. If you go to a big beauty show like Cosmoprof or like IBS show, they have every major beauty brand there. You might get lost in the mix a little bit. Again, so I was saying, it's better to maybe shrink things down a little bit and try to find your local markets and your local buyers and grow that way than try to go in and immediately compete with like the biggest brands who have millions and millions of dollars to buy the biggest booth and all of that. It's great. You could still go to those shows. And I haven't done a actual exhibiting at one of those big shows, but there's nothing wrong with just getting a ticket and walking the floor and talking to people. I've done that a million times. In fact, most of the times I'm not exhibiting. I'm just working the floor, and I bring my sample bag. I get these products and I put them in a clear bag and I walk around with it, and people stop me and they go, "What is that?" And I go, "These are my products." And guess what? Now I'm talking to people. So I think make your products very visible, walk around in a clear container, and don't be afraid to do that. I think people get a little intimidated by trade shows. I go to them all by myself, and I'm not even like a super extroverted person. I'm definitely an introvert, like in my regular life. Like I spend my days, growing flowers and going to bed at 8 o'clock at night these days.
That sounds like a great life. I mean,
go to bed by 8 o'clock then too. So, but no, I definitely, I love trade shows because everybody is there to do that. And it feels a lot less intimidating than if you were like, going door to door or something, which I've also done. You make it happen. You got to do what you got to do. But at trade shows, everyone's there for that reason. So it feels like, okay, get your business cards ready, and definitely still get business cards, because people think that they're going to take a picture of your business card, and who knows what's going to happen to that picture. Or I like handing out business cards, and I have a little QR code on there, and they can look up the catalog. They can look up our Instagram. I have all my information on that business card. So I still do old school business cards. Do what you want, but I think that they're still effective because you can put the QR code for like your catalog or what else you want to put on there. And also your logo, and just make it memorable. Make your business card kind of cool looking. So yeah, I love trade shows. I'm a big proponent of trade shows. I tell everybody, go to trade shows. I don't care if your product isn't even launched. Get out there, put a demo up, put a Wix site up, a demo, and go walk around and start signing people up. Like, just make it happen, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I love the founder, seeing like the founder side in you. It's very fun. And I very much think that like the transparent bag, I just went to Expo West. I don't know if you've gone before, but that was the first trade show that I've gone to that had brands exhibiting, and like the amount of transparent bags with product that it just catches your eye, and you know, okay, I have something to like talk to this person about. I think when founders or operators are hesitant, or just anyone, right? Like not even just in the e-com brand world, but anyone is hesitant about trade shows, it's like naturally you have to like find something to talk about, right? So it's like if you're not naturally that extroverted person who will just like go and talk to a wall, then it's really hard. And even if you are extroverted, it's still like, I'm pretty extroverted, so I have to even still take like a breath and be like, okay, now go introduce yourself. Like, I'll put it on me. But a lot of the times it's like nerve-wracking because you're meeting all these people and it's a lot and it's draining for anyone. And there are multiple days and all that stuff. So I think having the little things, like having a transparent bag, or I always wear like a fun color at trade shows because it's like something to talk to people about, or like a fun pattern, and then you know you can just like talk to them about that. And so I think
cutest clothes, like, be at your very best, do something. I was even like, should I get like a pink bobbed wig and walk around with that? Like,
yes, you should.
Just things differently. I think that's the best advice I can give anybody, actually, is don't worry about being cringe, or be different and have the audacity. Another thing is, I don't like, so I don't like how people want you to shrink yourself down so that you are consumable. Like, I don't like how people, especially for women, how if you are too this or too that, you're too much. You're like, no, have the audacity. Be too much. Always.
That's going to be the title of this episode, is just have the audacity.
Don't quit trying to shrink yourself down, or, I don't want to be too this or that. No, have the audacity 100%. I don't believe in that, like, being worried about people thinking you're too much of this or that. Post your stuff, go post on Instagram, do your TikToks, do whatever you need to do. Don't worry about what people are thinking of you. Don't worry about being cringe. Make it happen. Like, I wish I could teach that to people, that like that, the 0 F's given attitude. You have to have it. Like, if you want to start something from scratch and build it up, it's like, you have to have the audacity.
Yeah. No, I love, calling it out and saying, having the audacity to do so. And I think that'll resonate with a lot of our listeners who are like, maybe haven't found that way to be audacious and putting themselves out there. And you just never know. Maybe they're like, you know what? Okay, Desiree and Mariah were talking about it. I'm just going to do it. I'm taking it as my sign. So I love that. Okay, so trade shows, that's like huge acquisition channel for you, just to like get out, get your branding, get networking and all that fun stuff. And then I'm assuming the normal, like socials, email, all that great stuff. Once you're meeting those people, putting them in the top of the funnel and then nurturing them from there.
Correct.
So let's flip into the retention side of things. How do you view retention, especially as a consumable product? I would love to get kind of your rundown of your strategy.
So I think that, again, as I was saying earlier, innovating and releasing new, interesting products. So you have your regulars that are always going to buy the product that they originally started with you, right? But you have to continue to improve that product, as well as add new, more interesting products to your line. So you always have something to reach out to them about, right? So it's not just like, oh, here's the same old thing. It's really not just releasing a new product, but releasing a very unique, interesting product. Like, whenever you're doing something, you have to be a little bit different. You cannot be like every other thing that's out there. Like, when we were releasing the flowers for the Planet Skincare line, every single product that I did was very, very unique, especially in the regards to a product we have called the NAD plus resveratrol skin booster. That is like a combination you will not find in skincare. In fact, you won't even find, and really hardly any skincare brands even putting NAD plus in their skincare. So I was like, this I feel like is going to be, and guess what? That's one of our best sellers. Like, people want something different. They just want to try something different. And not everything works for everyone's skin. You have to really find out what works best on your skin. So I think in particular, in my industry, particularly the differentiation of the ingredients that nobody else is really using, but also make sure those ingredients are research backed and science based. Like, I will only use clinical grade ingredients that are backed by research. So those two, that combo of NAD plus and resveratrol, cannot find it anywhere else except for our product. And it is an amazing combination for your skin and research.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. And I think that product development, like I always say on this show, is people won't come back if you don't have a good product, right? Like, that is like baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes a lot of sense that you are iterating on those products, making them better, and trying to obviously release new things that are enticing and unique. And so that's like one lever I think about of like, okay, retention, product has to be good. Check it off the list. It's good. People are returning. Obviously, a really good sign if you have those regulars, like you said, who are buying the same product. You've probably tweaked it from a product standpoint of like, okay, this is better for this reason. But if they keep returning with you for that product, you know that you're in a good spot. Another lever that I always think about is obviously customer experience. Like I said, that's where my expertise sits in. So walk us through how you think about customer retention with customer experience. Like, what touch points do you have with people pre and post purchase? Typically, like, what's that cycle like of timeline between repeat buys of like, okay, usually every month someone is returning and that's how we like keep this cadence going, or every 6 months? What does the kind of customer journey look like?
So I am really like involved with my customers. I'll like chat with them on Instagram on the DMs.
I love that.
One of them, I have a regular, she loves our Super Greens line, which is a mask and a facial spray. And she's like, oh, this is so weird. Like, I don't ever like just talk to brands like this. She was giving me feedback on some things that she liked and didn't like. And she was like, I'm like, you know what? I really appreciate the feedback. Like, if there's something about the packaging you don't like, then let me know. Like, I'm not offended. I like feedback because guess what? That makes my brand better. That makes me do a better job. I'm not offended by it. I don't have any ego about if someone doesn't like my product. I'll be like, oh, well, why don't you like my product? You know what I mean? So I think that taking that feedback and just being personal with your customers, like anybody that reaches out to me, I respond to them personally. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, oh no, I'm the founder. They're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I talk to everybody, like I don't have, I don't think I'm too good for that. I like being really approachable, and I like talking to my customers and letting them know there's a real person on the other side of this. And it's my entire heart put into this brand and this product. So I think just like being really personal with your customers, it helps that retention because they become very loyal to you because they feel like they know you. And I don't be afraid to just, have a chat on DM and tell them, hey, I'm the founder. Like, talk to your customers, like, I don't know, get feedback. I also like sending I'll send like little cards and coupons like, hey, if you write a review, we'll give you 30% off, or, I'll just send out little snippets of stuff. Like also like little Easter eggs. I put like a little alien on our, we have a scout mask, and I put like a little tiny alien on there. And I was like, anybody that reaches out to me and mentions this alien, I'm going to like send them a gift. So I don't know, just
That's really cute. Yeah, that's really cute.
Yeah, and gosh, what is the other advice? I think that obviously there's a lot of AI that's very helpful. Like if you want to go to the tech side of things, that is going to send abandoned cart things and SMS text messages. Those are really important. Having a bot on your website to chat if necessary with customers. And you can even have that pushed to your cell phone. So like I'm over here, I would have something pushed to my cell phone and just like start chatting with somebody. So I don't know, staying very involved in it. I think that we are a lot of the times, we're doing a lot as a founder, especially solo founder. So you're delegating, you can delegate some stuff to other people, but still stay involved in it and still, be very involved in your brand. Like Diane von Furstenberg, for example, she's extremely involved in her brand still. And I think that's beautiful because that's like a legacy brand and she's still there. She's still on top of things every day doing the designs. And I think that is awesome. And yeah, I think that on the tech side, I think SMS messaging is really effective, probably more so than email. There are some really, really cool loyalty programs out there now. I was talking to one company that they're doing like gamified advertising. So they're like, gamifying the advertisements where you like earn rewards for playing little games, and they're doing it through like casinos. I thought that was pretty interesting, and it's actually something I might try. And then, yeah, I think that's kind of where I keep my retention. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I like that you brought up the tech side because that was going to be my follow-up of,
yeah.
I think it's great to be involved as a founder in the brand, right? Like you're still so heavily, on the day-to-day, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
But I also think sometimes bringing in tech is a great idea for like, okay, maybe this is not the area that I need to be like directly manually doing myself. And so like you brought up support chat widgets of like, okay, maybe it gets directed to your phone if it's not something that can be like a lower status of like, okay, where is my order or something like that, right? Where it's like, okay, well, chatbot can probably direct you to what's your name, account number, track your order, here's your page. Versus something that's more like customer feedback of like, hey, I don't like this, or I like this, or blah, blah, blah. And you can kind of set those parameters. So yeah, kind of walk me through like, where do you, I guess the best way to phrase it is like, where do you invest your own time versus where do you kind of say like, okay, tech actually can, I'm going to overlay this here because that isn't jeopardizing, your strengths as a founder of like where you can have those personable moments with people, but like still keep yourself sane in like tech is going to help you, accomplish certain things and take things off your plate that need to be taken off because there's only so much time.
Yeah, so I kind of have to wear a lot of hats. I'd say I focus most of my time on the product development, the creative side of things. So I'm very much in charge of the aesthetic look of the products, the development of them, the ingredients that go into them. I mean, I'm very much involved in like every aspect. I obviously have a lot of automated emailing going on and text messaging, customer service, outsourced, that sort of thing. But again, like I said, everything gets kind of pushed to me. Like I'm still the one managing my social account. I manage the StyleFox account. I'm in the DMs. So it's me. And I like doing it though. I like being involved in my brand. It's my baby. I've had it for, for 10 years now, I guess. And I will always be very involved with it. I'm sort of like a helicopter parent with my brand.
I think a lot of founders are. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because it is like my child. And so I'm really concerned with, the interactions that we have with our customers and making sure that those are good interactions and that we're, sometimes someone's package doesn't come in and that really sucks because it's like, you do your best as a founder to make sure everything is getting out and, insured or whatever. And then it goes missing and then the customer is mad at you and you're like, I did my job. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to do my best to like reconcile this, and that's just part of the business. But yeah, I like staying involved and I like, again, like there's a lot of things you can now with technology delegate out. If you need more help marketing or whatever, there's, if you need another marketing person, there's so many cool ways of getting, remote workers, freelance or whatever. I mean, the freelance industry is incredible. I mean, I feel like there's just so much available now that wasn't there 10 years ago. Yeah. There's a lot of help out there if you need it. And even if you're on a tight budget, it's there. Like just, you have to go to trade shows. Again, like I swear I discovered so much. I mean, that's how I met you guys, right? I've met so many great tech companies at the trade shows for stuff that I needed. Like I was looking for a new affiliate program and a new influencer program. And I found a great one. And I think that, you just have to stay on top of things and stay on top of the technology and be, again, curious about what's out there and how you can use that to improve and take a little load off of you. Get some help.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like that, like it might be harder to admit like, okay, I need someone to help me. Cause like you go from having to bootstrap and do it all. And then like, get to that point where you're like, oh God, I can't do it all. Like something's got to budge, right? So
Right.
I love that honesty. And I always love to provide the space too. If you want to give any of those tech partners a shout out because you've loved working with them, feel free, but no pressure too.
What tech partners do I like? I love HubSpot.
Yeah.
Omni's great. And let's see. The new influencer program that I'm testing out now is called Endless.
Ooh, okay.
ELSS, and it's really cool. I've already been digging around in it and I'm like, this is very smart. It's very efficient. It automates a lot of the messaging. It automatically pulls up Instagram profiles, TikTok profiles. You can, search by engagement rate. You can search by, it's just a pretty cool platform. So Max Maris, I think that's how you say his last name, is the salesperson I've been dealing with there. So shout out to Endless.
I love it. I love it so much. That's what we're all just trying to be here helping each other, right? That's what we're here for. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap us up with one last question because we were just talking about retention and tech stacks and obviously doing a lot of research around what is worth it, what is not, all that fun stuff. So where do you kind of turn to when you're at that point where like, okay, I'm ready to offload something, like I know I can't keep this on my plate. Where are you looking for those, tech recommendations or freelance recommendations? Slack channels, social, where are you turning? Yeah.
I'm a junkie. I have to go in person. I was talking to, again, at Shop Talk, again, is an incredible trade show. Everybody should go to. If you can get anybody, if you have a business, you will get value out of that show because of the one-on-one meetings and the sheer number of tech companies there. And for me, I get spammed every single day by tech companies and all sorts of things. And so am I opening up those emails and looking at them? No, because they're usually ending up in spam or I just don't have time. So they end up going unread and getting probably deleted at some point. Now at a trade show, I am now having to go through all these companies. Like when they match you up at Shop Talk, you have to go through and pick who you want to see. And you got to read about that company, understand what they're doing, and then they match you. And so I'm going through hundreds and hundreds of companies, tech companies, retailers, and getting matched that way. And then I'm going and meeting them in person and building a rapport. I'm understanding their product. And that's how I'm buying tech now. I can't do it over email. It's too much. I'm getting spammed every single day, dozens of spam emails on LinkedIn and I just would rather meet in person. I'm a real like face-to-face person with business. I like being, talking to someone and hey, I've made a ton of friends now. On my tech friends, I need stuff for them who are also friends. So
I love it. Yeah. I wish we could be in person, like just talking. Someday, Desiree, we'll get there, right? Well, this has been
there.
Yes, please. Would love to. Yes, there actually is a Shop Talk Fall in Chicago. They started it last year. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Well, this has been so fun. Thank you again for making the time. Before we hopped on, we were saying there's so many things on your plate and that you're doing and everything. So it very, very, very much leaves me with a lot of gratitude always after these calls. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time. It was great chatting.
Good. I'm so glad. Yay.
All right.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. These conversations bring so much knowledge to the table, and I'm so grateful for that. If you haven't already, please subscribe, follow us on social media, and tell us who our next guest should be on our website. Let's give another shout out to our day one sponsor, Malomo. As you know, Malomo is an order tracking platform that enables Shopify brands to take control of their transactional email and SMS through branded order tracking pages. That means you can ditch those boring all white carrier pages. You know the ones I'm talking about. Everyone has seen an ugly tracking page in their life. And you can swap it with a page that matches your brand. Customers like you and I obsessively check order tracking an average of 4.6 times per order. That's why leading Shopify brands are turning that engagement into customer loyalty and revenue through branded order tracking. Learn more about how to get ahead of shipping issues, brand your order tracking experience, and reconvert customers while they wait for their package to arrive with Malomo. Visit gomalomo.com. That's GOMALOMO.com.